Lads, I made my bread. Starting with this game, I covered a lot of the lore behind the cosmetics in the paid shop. There was a point where lore got lazy, and I stopped covering them because I'm not gonna read lazy lore. However, I figured a nice little fun thing would be to go through all the lore that's come out and all the cosmetics and read the ones that I have. There are cosmetics I've missed. Well, I'll get them when they come back round. Currently, this video is a list of all the cosmetics currently out and the lore that goes with them. Enjoy. Karking, one of the most controversial armor sets ever to come out of Fatshark. So much so that they missed an opportunity to create a fantastic character. But let's learn about this man. There is no mistaking the squared carapace armor and distinctive camo scheme worn by the Cadian Kasrkin shock troops. These elite warriors have made a name for themselves on battlefields across the galaxy, from the Cadian Gate to the ice world of Lorne 5, exemplifying what it is to be a grenadier in the Astra Militarum. Another less well-known mark of the Kasrkin is their tendency to tattoo a Cadian sea eagle on their neck. Notably, Dax doesn't seem to have this, but insists he served with the elite Cadian unit before joining Inquisitor Grendel's service. Rumours abound that he chanced upon the armour and decided to adopt the background, reasoning that the similarity of his last name would add credence to his claims. As long as he fights like a Kasrkin, does it really matter? It absolutely does. This is the most controversial camo in cosmetic that's ever come out. That line right there, that sentence. As long as he fights like a Kasrkin, does it really matter? Yes, because you don't fight like a Kasrkin without knowing what it means to be a Kasrkin. When veteran guardsmen flee, the Kasrkin stand. When victory is near, the Kasrkin seize it. When the arch enemy attacks, the Kasrkin elite are the rock upon which traitors shall break. General Stern, commander of the Cadian 412. That right there, no Kasrkin turns and scavenges armor off the dead. He is an honest Grok's waste. Sanctioned Psyker, Halor Hengeist. To achieve sanction from the Scholasta Psykana, Halor Hengeist was forced to master the disciplines of mind protection. Although there were times when he thought he would fail and become fodder for the Golden Throne, he remained focused and passed his final battery of tests. Even so, Hengeist remains haunted by what he's seen looking back at him from the Hungry Warp. Tightly wound, Hengeist keeps himself aloof, focusing all his energies and thoughts to the mission at hand. Stray thoughts are anathema to him, for who knows where they might ultimately lead. It is almost a relief to find himself in combat, where he can release his mental energies to blast the foe and unleash the pent-up emotions that are built up within his overly anxious mind. Hengeist fears nothing more than quiet time spent reflecting. Good on him for putting focus into himself. Sim, previously deployed with the famous Savlar 14th. Sim is very proud of his regiment's participation in the Third War for Armageddon. He's hoping it might gain him some favour with Morrow, though he's yet to have a chance to bring it up. Don't worry, big man, Morrow probably already knows, and he's probably got respect for you. Polium Veritas. Having served aboard several famed rogue trader vessels, Polium is no stranger to the vagaries of the warp. Their extensive travels and exposure to exotic Xenos fauna has lent them a haughty, aloof air, even more so than other Psykers. Well, judging by the way he dresses, he's definitely enjoyed the good life with a rogue trader. Combat Predicant and Ogryn. A lifetime on the front lines preaching the Emperor's truth and burning heretics has led Ogryn to Inquisitor Grendel's service. Ogryn is a firm believer in the power of blind faith, hence the lack of eye holes in their helmet, but this does not make them any less effective. Guided, as they claim, by the Emperor's hand, Ogryn has been responsible for many scouring of cult uprisings, putting to flame any hint of rebellion or heresy that they come across. Now in Tertium, Ogryn has truly found where they belong. A seemingly endless horde of traitors and heretics to kill. Ogryn has even allowed themselves to feel a modicum of contentment. For the first time since their childhood. After all, this is truly the Emperor's work they do this day. Nothing like a blind man with a flamer to truly make you understand the Emperor's will. Lord Eddie One-Eye. Usually for an Ogryn, Eddie has developed a bit of a taste for the finer things. He's become more rather fond of expensive fabrics, elaborate patterns and gold shinies, and even food that a regular human would find palatable. This has led to his squad mates giving him the mocking Lord moniker. These quirks aside, it is generally agreed that Eddie is a solid, dependable warrior who can be trusted to get his hands dirty when the situation requires it. People often remark on the two skulls Eddie proudly wears around his neck, though he never within earshot. Some say he talks to them at night, though no one has ever been brave enough to inquire as to their provenance. Some stories are probably best left untold. Probably to people who gave him a bit of lip. Commissar Gregorius Delante, known secretly by those in his command as the Red Cap Scourge. Delante's particular methods for enforcing discipline were feared and respected by everyone who knew him. One memorable occasion saw him decimate a platoon of light infantry for wearing the wrong camouflage pattern. Wouldn't surprise me if he ended up fragged by his own company. Just saying. Faithful Bodak, guiding preacher, vengeful spectre, the white shadow. Faithful Bodak has been called many things while haunting the alleyways in dark places of the Carnival district. A beacon for the lost, but a firebrand for the damned. Well, as long as he's doing the Emperor's work, I suppose not many should truly be afraid, save a heretic and a traitor. Gurg likes gambling. Unfortunately, he's never been any good at it. Low numeracy skills and an inability to grasp even the most basic rules set has seen Gurg getting himself into trouble on many occasions. Gurg doesn't mind though, at least it keeps things interesting. It's a good Ogryn. Well done, mate. Well done. Experimental comms operative. Alpha 4. The vast majority of the Imperium citizens approach Psykers and their abilities with distrust and contentment. As is only right. However, some enterprising commanders, when facing particularly psychic enemies, have experimented with using sanctioned Psykers as comms officers. The hope is that they are able to get through psychic interference using their own powers. None of these experiments have proved conclusively whether this strategy works or not. No, but the Psykers sure are doing some damage to the enemy forces, so commanders will still use them because they're not Karking idiots. But hey, being a Karking idiot has never stopped command before. Whispers, Flickwrath. All sorts of organizations need a good comms, and Whispers has found their niche in providing them. For a price. Always mysterious, they never show their face, choosing instead to hide behind a brutal iron mask. When not engaged in some underhanded activity, they turn to their other love, preaching the word of the Emperor to all who will listen, even some who won't. They're not really a good comms officer, are they then? Sounds like a waste of orders, but that's just me. Karl Khan's Gorens. As a comm officer, Cal was a vital link between the troops on the front lines and regimental command safe in their Leviathan mobile fortress. Those are pretty cushy, you know. Unfortunately, one misheard message landed him with a court-martial for disobeying orders. Cal is very glad of the chance to serve Grendel and redeem his honor. Well, seems like he's not that good of a comms officer. Probably the reason why he ended up where he is. After all, regimental command can't take the blame for not relaying an order properly.
Was die Hammerhand By channeling the powers of her mind into her fists, Vasti can manifest the kind of strength that makes even Ogryn's nod in appreciation. In truth, Vasti feels her powers, for like all citizens of the Imperium, she was taught to abhor the witch. Since she developed psychic abilities, she has struggled to overcome self-loathing, yet in instances when her hands glow with a halo of power or her mental shield shimmers as it protects her from incoming fire, she feels not fear but joy. To unshackle and unleash pent-up anger in her mind fills her with freedom and righteous fury. In those moments she longs to smite not only those that would defy the Emperor of Mankind, but those fools who would make her feel ashamed of her own Emperor-given powers. Thus far, she has kept herself in check. Obscurus Mark IX Psychona Coven Collar, rumored to have been acquired by Commodore Howlett by the most unscrupulous means. Therefore, hardly remarkable. Morgraine Mark III Psyker Battle Dress Sludge Jungle Camo. Veteran garb from a long and grueling campaign. Morgraine Mark III Psyker Battle Dress Top Sludge Jungle Camo. Psykers are never truly welcome in military regiments. Und seldom are they accepting of their duty. Sword und Gun Montar Camo. The Montar system has long been a war zone, facing invasions from ambitious orc warbosses to conclaves of chaos renegades. Montar Splitter Camo is a versatile, disruptive pattern issued to several Astra Militarum regiments, allowing for rapid redeployment within a system of diverse environments.
Stone claims his moniker came from a bad day on the target range. His squad mates differed, claiming that he once showed affection for a woman uglier than an Ogryn's ass. Such friendly disagreements have been common enough in every squad that Stone has ever served with, for he is a consummate soldier, gregarious and easygoing on marches or drills. Stone was known to be as quick with a joke as he was with lending out spare boots, extra rations, or whatever you might need. When things got serious, however, such as the ambush at Ink Run or the heretic uprising of Solomon Square, Stone was no less a perfect comrade. He was known for laying down perfect cover fire, protecting his mate's blindside, or having spare ammo just when it was most needed. To this day, his squad mates show their appreciation for him in the rough manner tradition with many military units, through friendly, if caustic, no, I'm going to change that to brotherly banter and abusive nicknames. The Achilles Mark 10 Foxtrot Spark Cutter Mask. Notorious for the visor flash clouding if a lasgun discharges too close. Hopefully this one has been retrofitted, as if not, there's a lot of dead guardsmen about to be popping up today. Too much recuff makes most jittery, but not mech. He lives on the stuff. First assigned by the Astra Militarum to an armored division, where he served as a loader aboard a Lehman Russ battle tank, but later promoted to corporal and served as a driver. Badly injured in the fringe wars, Mech was still convalescing when his regiment was destroyed in what became known as the Twin Valley Massacre. He's since healed and was reassigned to an infantry division. God Emperor bless him. There Mech proved time and again that he was an excellent foot soldier, but deep down he would prefer to be back inside a tank. This is never more true than when there is a lot of marching to do. Regardless, Mech remains full of energy and optimistically feels that everything will work out. Of course, that could just be the recuff talking. The Nox Wars, since the scouring of Nox Secundus, which saw 8 Mobian battle groups endure a week of intense enemy shelling, the Mobian 6th, 9th, and 12th are sworn by the Agrippina flak helmets as both efficacious armor and lucky charms, or the Agrippina Mark 9 Alpha flak trooper helmet. Soldiers' wits are worth nothing if they cannot see the target. Commissar Arkwright Stanish. Agrippina Mark 9 Delta flak trooper helm. Agrippina once stood shoulder to shoulder with Cadia against the evils of the Eye of Terror. Though bereft of its neighbor's support, it does still Tog the Tank Crusher. Rumors of Tog's incredible strength run rampant. They begin when the Ogryn served with the Mobian 8th Armored Regiment. His comrades constantly sought out Tog, asking him to prove his vaunted might. Always willing to display his prowess, Tog would gladly bend iron bars or break lasguns with his bare hands. Once, if the tales can be believed, he hit a steel plate so hard that he bruised the metal. But it was in combat during the Fringe Wars where Tog truly made his name. Bereft of heavy weapons, the Astra Militarum had nothing that could penetrate the thick armor of the Xenos tanks. At least, until Tog waded in. Armed with only a steel beam, the Ogryn beat in the hatches and pried open the armored plates to reach the Orc crew within. Before his fury abated, Tog had crushed 3 enemy tanks, halted the enemy advance, and earned the nickname that would last a lifetime. Reinforced fatigues, sun-scorched camo, all comfortably worn, but not yet close to worn out. Armored vest, Mobian 39, 8th Company, sun-scorched camo. The gold skull insignia was bestowed upon the chest plates of all those regiments that stormed the fortified front of Loxby during the Fringe Wars. Few such articles still survive. Brute Plains camo, cleaver, and boom launcher, made famous during the infamous Krork insurrection, a campaign waged across seemingly endless arid plains, where the local saber-toothed fauna were far more of a threat than any renegade. Mark 12 Brute Model Rebreather. I am not sure that they understood what is a rebreather and what is clearly a cybernetic enhancement for a missing eye. To withstand the strain of fabled Ogryn halitosis and the sheer force of their belches and grunts, the standard Militarum rebreather needed heavier duty steel and a stronger frame, as exhibited by this model that is on the Ogryn's head and not their mouth. Clearly, someone missed the mark. Froka is big and sturdy as a boulder, just as smart too. It was during the forced retreat of the Black Swamp campaign that Froka earned his name. Injured many times, he stood tall and refused to yield. The sight of enormous Froka bleeding a lot, yet still fighting furiously, gave hope to all of Astra Militarum that saw him. Froka fired his Ripper gun until it ran out of ammo, then used it as a club. All while he roared Ogryn defiance him at his enemies. At first, few halted their retreat to make a stand beside Froka. Soon, a squad, then a company formed around him. Froka, with the presence of a commissar, a rout became a defensive, a rock upon which the waves of the enemy broke time and again. Thus, victory was achieved, and Froka became Froka the Boulder. With as little subtlety as a rock slide, the Boulder of Bagordan earned his reputation through repeated acts of extreme violence, normally of the smashing, crashing, and stomping variety. When he puts his head down and charges, he moves with the force of a runaway mag train, destroying all in his path. It is known amongst his comrades that when he gets going, it is best to get out of his way, and given his penchant for horrifically messy destruction, that means out of the way by a wide margin. Those that follow too closely in his wake must learn to dodge in order to avoid being splattered by gore or bludgeoned by flying debris. Truly, the Boulder puts brute into the phrase brute strength. Ogmur, Mark 1, Alpha Commando Beret 4XL. We Ogryns have big heads. It's not about making a stealthy approach. It's about making sure no one's left alive to talk about what they saw. The barskins aside. During protracted campaigns, it's not always possible to produce the shiny medals that make Ogryn so proud of their regiments and ready to fight. The Mobian 33rd circumvented this problem instead by issuing bonades with cheap and simple fancy arts, whose lack of protection was more than compensated for by the significant boost in the Ogryn's enthusiasm for mayhem. Bodyguard Cap Mobian 33rd 4XL. Nog did not mind that the Red Hat made him a target. It meant the heretics came to him. Bodyguard Cap, Karst Skin Camo 4XL. Earn the loyalty of an Ogryn, and long life shall be yours. Mobian proverb.
Today, to be a Psyker is to be hunted, hated, and alone. Nasara has the power to reach out and touch other minds. When she first began to do so, she hoped it would alleviate the crushing isolationism she felt. But instead, she only finds disappointment. Other minds are weak and repulsive, their primitive thoughts serving only to depress her. Nasara's only solace is serving the Emperor, for though she reviles the brutality of the Imperium, she also recognizes the full horror of what awaits mankind should the horrors of the war be unleashed. In this vein, she is willing to do her part, serving the Imperium in any role she is asked. She now guards her own mind and thoughts, barricading her mental powers as if it were a castle besieged. Gloriana Redemptor's Veil. Historians argue about Saint Messalina's attitude to Psykers, though the keepers of her shrines insist she abhors them. Ilisi Mac Van, Grand Resolver Hannes. It is not unknown for Psykers to rise to great office, especially among enforcers, but they are never trusted. This subject, now known as 314/219/Psy, was captured on a witch hunt during the much-heralded Storm of Righteousness Purge of Atoma Prime. Early testing proved off the charts, as the subject could melt minds and twist steel with his thoughts alone. He was earmarked for the Black Ships and held in side-dampening cells until the next tithe collection was due in port. However, the subject escaped before transport to the Black Ships could be completed. Sanction Redactist was authorized upon recapture, but somehow a glitch in the bureaucracy of myriad Imperial systems allowed recruitment for this mission to take precedence. Thus far, it has proven the deliverance of subject 314/219/Psy, but how long his luck holds out remains to be seen. Recusant's Cage. What transgressions condemn a man to such a mask? The last owner could not say, for he'd bitten off and swallowed his own tongue. Long a member of the Missionaries Galaxia, Portis is proud to spread the Imperial creed. She is prouder still to lay low heretics, unbelievers, witches, and mutants. In her many travels across the Mobian domain, Portis has seen firsthand the importance of converting heathens into true followers of the Emperor. Left to their own, such degenerates are easy prey for heretics. Without strict adherence to the cult imperialis, civilization becomes a dangerous breeding ground for abominations such as witches and mutants. Blessed zeal, an impressive level of intolerance. Portis rose in the hierarchy to Arch Missionarius, a role she revels in, ever longing to prove both herself and the righteous fury of her faith. There is nothing as satisfying to Portis in doling out punishments to the enemies of the Emperor. Indeed, Portis now believes that inflicting extreme violence onto unbelievers as her true calling. While dealing death to heretics, Peter is also seeking to fulfill his own epic quest. Although he is afraid to speak of it aloud, Peter frequently has the same reoccurring dream. As vision, he is visited by the almighty Emperor, a being so radiant and glorious that Peter dare not look upon him fully. The Emperor implores Peter to continue his missionary work, to punish all unbelievers, but to also, over the course of his journey, to seek out the blessings of every preacher, confessor, drill abbot,
deacon and cardinal in the Mobian domain. Once this feat has been achieved, Peter will be granted prodigious power as befits one of his zeal. Thus, at every opportunity, Peter requests a blessing of his fellow members of the Adeptus Ministorum, who are always ready to bestow them upon so dedicated a servant of the Emperor.
The infidious striving, aiding the call to arms amidst the broken shrines of Gloriana Messalina. It was during the 13th War for Infidious Brim that fully 8,000 followers of the Purgators of Wrath made the journey to the battle zone, donning the garb of the faithful executioners. These grim headsmen put twice their number of traitors to the sword, though most were martyred in the effort. Barely 200 executioners returned to Messalina's great temple, forming a shadowy sanguinary cult that operates on the fringe to this day. Mercy Hood. It was once said on Messalina Gloriana that there were 1,000 ways the faithless could meet their end, and 1 billion souls ready to serve as executioner. Penance Hood. Innocence is no defence. Sister in Wrath. Elena Priss. Deceased. Sister in Wrath. Elena Priss. It was a firebrand of Atomic Prime that first stoked Elena Priss's rage into an incandescent level. Since that early age, she knew she needed to dedicate her life to serving the Emperor. She felt the only cult that could match her own zeal was the Sisters in Wrath, a group known across the Mobian domain for the fervour with which they hunted witches and attacked unbelievers. In the throes of one of her fits of religious ecstasy, Elena feels at one with her holy cause. Deep in her heart, she knows it as her sacred duty to smite all those that dare to go against the holy teachings of the ecclesiarchy, and her stern and discerning eyes sees no shortage of viable targets. Excoriator Hood. Blessed are the souls who would extract truth from their unwilling neighbours. Arch-Confessor Venarius. Punishment. Crusader Garb. Legs. It is curious how those of faith, who otherwise preach modest humility, are seldom modest or humble in attire. Punishment. Crusader Garb. Top. There are some sects of the cult Imperialis who prize tattered war gear, as it implies a life of trial and torment. Combat Sword. Imperator. Vitae Camo. Blood of the Martyrs. We aspire. Blood of the Saints. We venerate. Blood of the Emperor. We serve. From the 6th Canticle of Seleucia. Infantry Autogan. Purgatian Fields Camo. Developed shortly before the Fringe War battle on the Red Moon, Carrara. This camo pattern is often worn with pride by Mobian regiments, who claim the coloration actually signifies the blood of the many heretics who were slain on that faithful day. Crucius Gloriana, a touchstone for the devout and even the darkest of days.
Well, lads, I never thought I'd see the day where Krieg beats Cadia to an op. However, Krieg's here, Cadia still isn't. It says something about us, lads. We need to get off our asses. So let's find out what Krieg brings to the table for Inquisitor Grendel and those of Tertium during the Darktide. Jotun Ogrins. Of all the myriad regiments that together form the mighty Astra Militarum, none have garnered such a grim reputation as the Death Corps of Krieg. Hailing from one of the few man-made death worlds, their reputation has been well earned through numerous campaigns on worlds such as Pandorax, Vrax, and even the Third War for Armageddon. How Jotun came to be in Inquisitor Grendel's service is as mysterious as all other aspects of his background. However, the Warband will surely be glad of his assistance when the fighting starts. The Death's Head Helmet. Will you not leave your burrows and dance with us? Surely, a brief breath of martial glory is better than lingering, rasping death. Elithide Deathwind, Archon of the Seared Heart. Death's Head Alpha. No record now records how many perished in the trenches of Krosk. Brother Tormund Egler. With the unrelenting nature of life as a Krieg infantryman, it is not uncommon to see particularly devout squad members taking on the role of preacher or spiritual leader for their comrades. Tormund is certainly one such individual. His battle sermons emboldened his squad in the face of overwhelming heretic forces on the planet of Malak Bale, holding their position through faith, willpower, and judicial use of entrenching tools. The Scryer. Mysterious and aloof even amongst their peers, the Scryer, as they are known, is vanishingly rare example of a sanctioned Psyker within the Death Corps. Their commander always kept them on his advisory staff. Their ability to read the movements of the enemy when even the Auspex failed proved invaluable on numerous occasions, including the sacking of Cartesius and the breach of Garmis 6. Grum. Many would swear blind that the Death Corps of Krieg do not traditionally deploy Ogrins. It is speculated that the reasons for this are many, but most notably, Ogrins aren't really designed for trench warfare, the Krieg speciality. On top of that, it is posited that the vast quantities of material required to make enough greatcoats for an Ogryn squad would be ruinously expensive. All that being said, no one has ever had the fortitude to mention this in front of Grum. As it stands, I would say we have some good additions from Krieg. However, do keep in mind, lads, prices have gone up, so spend your money wisely. If you like the cosmetic, buy it. If you don't, save your money. Thank you to the patrons for supporting the channel. You too can support the channel by heading down in the description below and clicking the link to Patreon there. Or you can become a channel member. You can always support for free by hitting like, subscribe, hitting the bell notification, and commenting. I love hearing your thoughts. Please, join us in the next video. It's a pleasure to have you. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.